Alrighty, here we are back with another Tropico 6 series. In this series, I'm going to make a Communist Utopia in a sandbox world. Here's the starting settings. I'm going to choose this map here, Mancha de Tinta. Start in the colonial era like always. You always want the lowest population for the colonial era. And for this run, I'm going to go with the lowest starting money, and I'll show you how to make it all the way to the modern times with the lowest budget. That should be fine. I don't really need a victory condition, kind of just doing this one for fun. So, right off the bat, like always, you want to pause it. And because we're going to make everyone poor in this first era, go ahead and destroy all of the country houses because no one will be able to afford them anyways. And that's just money that you're going to be losing. On top of this, I'm going to move this. Move the plantation out. I think to here is how I'd want it set up. Yeah. Demolish this little road. Build the road all the way out to here. Start off with a tobacco plantation here. And we'll do a coffee plantation right next to this one. So that should be plenty of jobs right off the bat. We're going to make everyone poor, so every single building can go on the lowest budget. Just go through and put everything on the lowest budget here. Because we're going with the lowest budget, it's fine to change the construction office to ignore safety regulations. If everyone's got like a decent budget and the building has a pretty decent efficiency, then typically don't need to do that. Same thing with the Teamster's office. Because of low efficiency, these little work modes can help out. By contrast, the tavern's the only building we're going to put on the max budget, just to provide as much fun happiness to the population. And what else I can do is kind of go so far as to do this. Put a little landing here. Quick build it. And I'll move this tavern out to this island here. Reason being is that taverns are one of the few buildings that are affected by local beauty. So if you look at the beauty of this like whole area, it's all pretty yellow, like 75, 60. Everything is like whatever. But this little island here, the whole island has a beauty of 100. So that'll be nice once it refills back with workers. I'm going to demolish all of these extra housings. And I'm going to place... Or sorry, not all the extra housing, all the extra roads. And I'm going to move all the housing into a situation that I like a little bit more. This isn't like that great of an idea to do this early on, but I like making my island look good. Top of this, we'll move the construction office as well as our Teamster's office. So I really like the way this is starting to look. And we'll put the church right here. So everyone should be poor. It's going to take a while for everyone to fill in on those jobs because it counts as being fired from the job whenever you move a building. And so all the people that were just fired, it'll take them a couple months to fill back in on their jobs, but that's okay. We change everything to multicultural. And the efficiency will be low, but once we get a number of these plantations on multicultural all next to each other, across the street from the road and stuff, then it should be okay. Let's see how many educated people we have. We have 6 educated people. 2 are needed for the chapel, and I believe it's 4 for the newspaper here. I could go so far as to make like a whole little park here, so I think that's what I'm going to do. we will put a little square here. Matter of fact, I do not like the way that looks. I mean, I could do something like this. Cool. I always like making the bricks line up. In that last building, or the last park I put, it had like a different kind of brick, and so I don't like the way that looks. But once the road comes in, once we make it to the next era, this will be a pretty cool looking area. And then we'll eventually change these buildings out for buildings that have bricks as well. So this whole area will be all bricked up. We should have plenty of housing, we should have plenty of jobs. Need a couple more jobs. We will build our first coconut harvester. Whenever I do an island that's well off, I don't typically build coconut harvesters. Reason being is that the wage will never be above 10, so anyone working in the coconut harvester, there's a pretty good chance that like no matter what you do, they'll produce some poor Tropicans. And whenever I do an island in the colonial era where I try and make everyone well off, then you try not to have any poor Tropicans on the island. In terms of research, there's no research that I want to do, but there is an edict, food for the people, that I do want to do. So we'll go with that. I'll fill so I say import. So we need to do an import from the crown. Come through, see what's for offer here. We can import coffee. Yeah, we'll do the coffee import. So that should finish in one little thing, and we'll probably end up taking the money from them. Multiculture. Have a pirate cove. I almost discarded that, which would not be ideal. Let's go ahead and build up a pirate cove. We'll put this one on the high priority. That means that people kind of choose to come build this before they build anything else. Once everyone's got a job, then they should be able to afford a home. I won't destroy the shacks quite yet. I'll wait until everyone's got a job first. And just like that, we have our first newspaper. Put this on the lowest budget, change it to the independent. We should have the educated population to employ this building, so it should be okay. Coconut harvester, go with the minimum budget. Coconut cutter, why not? I do also want to get down an early fishing wharf. So everything's cruising along. We have coconuts, we have fish and shellfish, then we have corn. So we just need, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4. We already have 4 of the, I believe you can get 8 food types in the beginning of the game. So we already have 4 of those, so half of them. So we could build our first grocery soon. I mean, I might just build it now. I think I'm going to do that. And then potentially what I could do is just build another plaza here and put a chapel across the plaza from the grocery. Have a pirate cove. Always take the revolutionary immigrants from the revolutionaries. We'll go ahead and get the fishing dredge. So now we can start producing shellfish. Let's see. We'll put this on the lowest budget as well. Put it on Dead Man's Chest. Open the rates screen. I don't want to start getting people onto the island super quickly. I'd rather keep the population as low as I can for a while and influence the population towards the revolutionary faction. And so getting a lot of people onto the island, it'll kind of even out these two numbers here, 25 and the 23. And so what you want to do is have more revolutionaries. And so if you keep a low population and start influencing everyone towards this faction, then it'll quickly build up more revolutionaries than the royalist. So the island's looking pretty good. It's gonna take a while for everything to pick up. I mean, we did fire a bunch of people, so we're gonna have to wait for everything to catch back up. But eventually we'll be okay. I'm gonna go with the mandate extension. Starting to get a lot of people on the island. We're gonna need some more housing. Check out residential occupancy. We can see that every house is completely full. This means that we are generating money, about $12 a month per bunkhouse here. And so we have 6 of them. 6 times 12 is like 72, I think. $72 a month. Nothing to scoff at. We could also, well, I mean, we are doing fine on jobs. So early on, what you're trying to do is keep these numbers all near 0. So homeless families, vacant homes, unemployed, and vacant jobs. Having 0 homeless families and 0 unemployed people is pretty self-explanatory. But having 0 vacant homes and 0 vacant jobs, the reason you want to keep these low is that, let's check workforce. Let's see where people aren't working. So here at the Fisherman's Wharf, so we're spending a bunch of money every month, just to, like, we're spending a bunch of money upkeeping this building, and we're not actually producing anything out of it. And so that's not ideal. Eventually, hopefully we'll be able to fill in all these worker slots. But that's really the main reason that you want to do that. We'll go with the max budget on the grocery, and then once it starts getting full of food, the service quality should shoot up pretty high. And so if we come and check out the happinesses, food happiness will start getting pretty high pretty quickly. Right now, it's capped at like 52 here, 54, 52, yeah, so. Your Tropicans will always search out the buildings with the highest service quality, at least for certain things. And so food is one of those. And so they'll probably, like, eventually mostly come to the Fisherman's Wharf. It doesn't look like we're going to have a lot of fish and shellfish because the service quality is 54, but already the grocery has 66, even though there's no food variety in it yet. And so once we get a number of different food varieties in here, then this should shoot up to like maybe 80, maybe a little bit higher. And so food happiness is going to be really high. Healthcare happiness, this is kind of doomed to be low during the first era. Reason being is that the only building that's going to give them healthcare happiness is going to be our chapel here, and it's only 25, so that's fine though. Fun happiness is actually going to be pretty decent because of our little tavern over here, 56. So we could end up building more taverns. Definitely going to need to build some soon. Right now we're probably fine though. So fun happiness will be over 50. Food will be around 80, I reckon. Faith is going to be pretty low because our chapel's service quality is only 24. And then housing is going to be whatever this is, so around 31. Everyone should eventually live in a bunkhouse, so that'll be like around there. Job happiness is going to be pretty low as well because we have all the budgets on the lowest settings. Liberty and crime safety are going to be kind of whatever. Don't really need to worry about those, at least not right now. But we should have a pretty decent support. I could probably build another Teamster's office. Yeah, I should definitely build another Teamster's office. Oh no, did I just... Okay, never mind. They want us to build another tavern. That's okay. We'll go ahead and put one down. Try and find an area with a pretty decent amount of beauty. I mean, we are building up this park here, so maybe what I could do is put another park here. And then plan to... Well, let me think about this. I could build another newspaper as well. That's probably what I'm going to do, actually. I could put one here, and then leave this little 3x1 open for a, what's it called? A clinic later on. So I could put this here. Could come over here, put a tavern here, and then surround this with parks. Okay, so that should provide a pretty decent amount of beauty in this area. It won't be like 100, like how we have over here for this tavern. It's sitting in a really beautiful location for the population, but this will be alright. Build another Teamster's office, sure thing. Planned on doing that anyways, we can't afford it. Eventually we will be able to though. Once we start kind of pumping all this stuff out. I'm gonna need to build some additional bunk housing soon. I can actually afford one right now, so we'll put one there. So this is a pretty good layout so far. What I'm trying to do is have a 1, 2, 3 like tile space here for all of these buildings. So as you can see, construction office, Teamster's office, a chapel, the newspaper, all these buildings can fit neatly here. And then 2 blocks for housing, so boom, 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 boom. And so on the other side of the road, we'll do that as well, so 3 blocks. Fill it in with parks anywhere that there's gaps. The clinic will be able to fit here nicely, facing towards this. Just for the aesthetics, it's not really super important. But building up your island like in an aesthetically pleasing way typically makes it function a little bit better. Put that on the lowest budget. We'll put this one on Penny Saver. So this one will actually generate us money over time. We're starting to get food variety in here. We only have one, which is the coconuts, but once I start filling this completely up with all the different foods, then as you can see, it's already at 70. Let's see what another food variety does. 72. So that means that our food happiness will eventually be 72, or around 72. It'll go up even higher once we get more food quality in, or food variety in there. Just check the wages. These well-off individuals are probably criminals. I would reckon that this lady here is a criminal, because her husband only works at this tavern, and he's not quite making a wage that'll make him well off. And then on top of that, he's got a wife and a child, and his wife is unemployed. So I guarantee that this lady here is a criminal. I'm not really terribly worried about that right now. Let's check our education. We definitely have enough people to staff our newspaper here. It'll probably end up just taking a bit of time. We can turn off the buildings that allow local consumption, because now everything can just be funneled to the grocery. Prices of meat, blah blah blah. Oh, that's actually pretty nice for us because we are producing a lot of this stuff, so getting a 15% increase. 10 more revolutionary immigrants. Let's check the politics. As you can see, we're getting 40 out of almost 100. Not even close to having 60%. But, I mean, that'll change hopefully over time. I could probably build another chapel in this area here. We're going to need lots of chapels because the amount of visitor slots is really low in chapels. And we're probably going to be in this this era for a while. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to get down just one more chapel. As you can see, the service quality on this building is only 46. We get it up to 54, which should be, yeah, still lower than this tavern over here. I could build up some sugar plantations and then get down a couple of rum distilleries. And the rum distilleries, if you change their work mode, will increase the effectiveness of your taverns. So that'll be nice. The taverns will give an even higher service quality. I don't want to go like and build like a circus or any buskers, and then the luxury entertainment, no one will be able to afford to go to these, so there's no point trying to build those up. So we only have the taverns to work with. So making our taverns as effective as possible is definitely the route you want to go with. So as you can see, we definitely have the approval above 60 just because we were doing the revolutionary demands, but we just need more people to support it. Before we end up declaring independence, we're definitely going to need some military, because I'm not going to want to spend $15,000 to move to the next era. So all we'll need is realistically like just a couple of military buildings. I bet we could get away with a fort and then like 2 guard towers, and we'd probably be able to defeat the Crown's army that they send. Food variety steadily increasing. We're up to 76 service quality. Your groceries you can build in later eras. You can build up the canneries, and just like the rum distillery, you can put the cannery on supply local market, and this will increase the service quality of the groceries even further. I'm not going to want to industrialize too much, and I'll get into why in further episodes, but I'm not going to want to put too many industry buildings on the island. I will put down what we have to though. So the general layout is kind of just like this, like these plazas here. And then what I could end up doing is like leaving a little gap in the housings here. And then build the plaza out and then do another whole plaza. So not all buildings need to have road connections. Like we could put this newspaper way over here and it would be fine. All these housing buildings don't need a road connection. And that's something that not a lot of people take into consideration, is that you don't need, like, if you're building up a neighborhood, you don't need to have like a bunch of roads running through it. People won't even drive on them even if they could. So building up park roads is what I like doing. So just putting a bunch of parks in a line and then building up, like if you're building up a neighborhood, you could just do that. We are pretty poor right now, but over time we should start making a pretty decent amount of money. Back at least. We're starting to get a lot of homeless families, and we're starting to run into unemployed people, so this means that we're going to need more bunk housing. And some more jobs. What I could end up doing is build up some plantations here. So we have corn, tobacco, coffee. Let's find a plantation, corn, tobacco, coffee, something that'll fit in around here. Could do cocoa. Could do cotton here. I'm going to do cotton and rubber. So there's cotton, and we can do rubber right here. So that works out, and we'll spend the rest of our money on bunkhouses, which we can only afford one, but that's fine. Could also build a road through here. Probably won't be too useful, but might as well. I might not do any mining on the whole island. Reason being is that we're going to go with like an environmentally friendly island, so I won't do any mining. Penny saver, this building is slowly generating us some money, and that's good. Let's see how many people this has influenced. So over 60, so that's good. Every time a freighter shows up with a lot of people, it's gonna kind of drag us back towards not having enough revolutionaries. Not too worried about it right now. I want another tavern. Can't afford it right now. I don't even know where I would put it, honestly. But the island is looking pretty good so far. once we completely fill in like all of this empty space, it'll look really, really neat. Maybe what I could end up doing is just deleting some of these parks and putting another tavern there in the middle. In terms of the housing, if you do 3 bunkhouses in a row, you can replace them with tenements, and then you can put 2 tenements and it'll cover this exact same footprint. And on top of that, it'll have these nice bricks here. As you can see, the bunkhouses are like they have dirt under them, and so you can make like a whole huge area full of nothing but bricks, and I like to do that. It looks more aesthetically pleasing to me. Still need more housing. We have plenty of jobs right now. But all of these on the lowest budget, multicultural. So now because we have a bunch of buildings on the multicultural work mode, as we can see, we're getting the efficiencies pretty decent. 70s, 73 there. 60s on the ones that can't reach each other, these two. But the rest of these are doing pretty good. On top of that, they're really inexpensive. This is really cheap to maintain because they're on the lowest budget. In terms of something that you can do, agricultural subsidies, this is only really effective whenever your plantations are on the lowest budget. Reason being is that it's a percentage increase on the upkeep of the building, but it's a flat increase on the effectiveness. And so what this means is that if you have cheap buildings and you increase them by a percentage, then you're not really increasing them by a lot if the initial upkeep cost is low. And then you get like imagine 50% increase here. Let me see what it is. No, 25. So 25 would put these all near 100, all the ones that are 70 already. So these would all be pretty close to 100. And then the upkeep cost in total is $37. And so you can imagine increasing that by 50%. So it'd be like almost $50. But a 50% increase on a building that cost $100 wouldn't be ideal. I mean, you still probably could get away with it, but it's definitely going to be a lot more effective on buildings on the lowest budget. And on top of that, it gives a huge increase to the communist faction and a decrease to the standing of the capitalist faction. So this works best with communist countries. And so this is definitely going to be a super communist state here. Allow local consumption, turn that off on all of the buildings that allow it. As you can see, we just got 7 new people and we were at 59 and it went back down to 56. And this is why you don't want to be doing the rescue raids early on, because getting a bunch of random people on the island is going to decrease this even further. You can do it after you accomplish both of these, but you definitely don't want to do it beforehand. So the island is steady chilling right now. As a matter of fact, I don't even have enough money for that. We just need to let the money build up a little bit more. What we could end up doing is this completely staffed? It is. So we can go and steal stuff for money. Could also potentially do this. I mean, it's kind of risky. This is like guaranteed to give us some money. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do this. Maybe try and get some food that we're not producing. So we're not producing bananas, I don't think. Yeah, we're not producing bananas. So if we steal this, the bananas can be brought to our grocery. So we'll go ahead and do that. And so in a time like this, there's nothing really to do, so I'm just gonna turn off the UI and kind of just watch the island here. And so playing like this, where you're kind of, someone just got robbed. Nobody should be making a wage that will make them well off. And so anyone that is well off, all of these people here have a criminal in the family. Not ideal, but I mean, it's not too much of a problem right now. So you wouldn't have noticed people getting robbed if you weren't kind of sitting here with the UI turned off. And so little things like that, you'll notice little inefficiencies here and there, or you'll just see like cool little scenes. So as you can see, getting pretty close to a point where we are going to be net positive in the future. I'll probably end up doing every plantation in the game right here. There's a total of 9 different crops that you can build up. So I'll do all 9 on one side, and then I'll probably end up doing all 9 on the other side as well. And so we'll keep this like width here all the way down until the plantations kind of fizzle out, and then we can start building to the sides. Looks like there's room here for more plantations, but I don't know if there's any plantations that we can actually build here. Actually, we can build a sugar plantation there, maybe a cocoa plantation there. Could also build pineapple on this side. But it doesn't look like anything can be fit in here. Actually, corn. I mean, I could do another corn plantation, but ideally when you're setting up plantations like this for the multicultural work mode, you don't want to do a lot of plantations that are the same, because you're trying to get the most out of the work mode. I mean, I could do cocoa. I don't think I'm producing cocoa yet. Yeah, so I could do cocoa here, and then pineapples here. And so that's what I'll end up doing. And then we'll be pretty close to, that'll actually be everything, I think. No, we'll be 2 shy. So I could do a sugar plantation here. And then there's only one thing we're missing. I believe it might be bananas. Yeah, so we'll do sugar here, bananas here, and then the other 2 that I just said there. Let's check our unemployment rate. We're doing all right. Cool. I'm not going to build any jobs on this one. I'm just going to focus on the housing. Each of these provides housing for 6 households, and we have a total of 17 homeless families. So we need at least 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and demolish these 2 up. And we'll put another tavern here in the middle. Just to help out with the revolutionary demand. So we have enough room for 1 more housing building here. And then I think I'm going to leave a gap there so that I can build. What we could end up doing is like this setup here, but put it backwards. And so it'll be like a huge block here. And then we'll build another plaza here on this side for more buildings in the future. Penny Savers made us $1,000, so that's pretty nice. As soon as we get another export of money, then we'll do more jobs after that. So, I'm gonna go ahead and do some trade deals just to help out with the money that we kind of need here. We can do coffee because we are producing coffee, and tobacco I believe we're producing. Oh, we cannot afford additional trade licenses yet. So this might seem like a sketchy position we're in, or, you know, really in the negative here. Can't afford to put down any more buildings, but the thing is that this island right now, if I left it alone for a while and no one moved in, then this would be like a pretty perfect little island, and the whole thing would actually be net positive. If you're really hurting for money, you could change the penny saver, or the other plantation, to the penny saver. More revolutionary immigrants. That would make us even more money. And then on top of that, you could set all of these bunkhouses to a lower budget, and this will generate more money. And so here we can see on the middle budget, because this building is completely full, we're making $18 a month off of this building. But if we go this like all the way down to the bottom, we'll be making 24. But we'll leave it on the middle budget. Keep everyone happy. Because as the budget goes down, the housing quality goes down as well. Just got to make sure that your plantations aren't getting too full. Like this one's at 500, as we can see here. And as long as there's not too many buildings like that, then you don't quite need more. Teamsters offices. So right now, we're all right. Service quality continuing to go up on our grocery. That's convenient. In about a month we'll finish this raid, and that'll bring in hopefully a couple $1,000s worth of goods that we can end up selling. Ideally, I'll end up deleting this road here in the future. I'll probably move the construction office like somewhere towards the edge of the city, because construction office also has like this dirt underneath it, and I don't really like the way that looks mixed in with all the other buildings. I could also end up deleting the chapels and replacing them with churches. That could be a good move. So now we have made it to the point where we can actually, if we had the money for it, we could spend 15,000. I mean, I could just wait for it, but I'd rather kind of, oh man, I don't like the way this looks, a bunch of green houses in a row. It's kind of annoying. Build a library, we'll accept it. We're not going to end up doing it, but that's a-okay. I mean, I could build our first military building, a fort. But I think I'm going to wait a little while here, actually. Build up some more money-making buildings. We actually have unemployed people now, so we can build up another plantation here. I think I'll do the pineapples first here. As a matter of fact, I'll go so far as to do the cocoa as well. Cool. And if I can afford it, another bunkhouse. As a matter of fact, what I want to do is, that would kind of be pointless. I mean, if you were going to make like a military dictatorship, communism country, something you could do is make all the housing buildings like the same color. I think that would be kind of funny looking. If we change the budget now, then as soon as, like, if you hold control, I'm not sure what it is on console, but if you do the thing where you can set the budget for all the buildings, like if we do it right now, then these buildings, as soon as they come up, they should be on the lowest budget already. So what I'm doing is like any money that I get, no matter what, I'm always trying to get down more money making buildings. And then once we actually, like after a certain point, it'll be to where, yeah, as we can see, the budget's already on the low setting. But we'll keep on doing this. Like any money that we get, any breathing room, we'll spend it all on production buildings, and this will build up, or this will make it to a point where we're just like outpacing the amount of money we're spending. Change the work mode to multicultural. Put this on low priority. I'd rather than build the plantation up first. If we get this one additional bunkhouse built up, and then everyone gets a job, then all of the buildings should be pretty close to being completely lived in, and we should have no homeless families soon. Change this work mode. 51, pretty low. 53, pretty low, but this one's still 56, so kind of evens out. Check the happinesses. As we can see, the food happiness is the highest. Fun happiness is doing pretty good too. Liberty, I'm not sure why the liberty's going up, but that's good. Oh, because of all of our newspapers. That's convenient. So shacks decrease the crime safety in the nearby areas. That's why it's not good to have shacks, on top of other reasons. I believe they increase pollution as well. Yeah, so these shacks are making pollution around. I think pollution's actually going to bring down the effectiveness of our plantations here. So I don't really care about not having them up. Or I don't really care about having like shacks on the island. But ideally you don't want them near your plantations, so those are the only ones I'm going to go out of my way to delete. Another $4,000, that should get us pretty close to building up like another plantation or two. Plenty of vacant jobs. This building should be getting pretty close to being finished, and we should have plenty of housing soon. This building's produced us $2,000, pretty convenient. And this building has consumed $2,000 to influence people towards that faction. As a matter of fact, we don't need to influence anyone anymore, so we'll just put them both on the penny saver for now. These buildings are not net positive. That's okay, we're really only worried about making our population happy with those buildings. So now we have a bit of money. No vacant jobs, and the housing should be pretty even, so we'll just save the money for this run, or for this like time that we're waiting for the next freighter to show up. Maybe what I could do is build a building. Let me see if there's anything I can think of. I would actually, you know what, we'll build our first fort. And we'll unlock the guard tower, so the next time we'll be able to buy a fort. They want us to build a Teamster's office. Actually, I should have done that because we are kind of getting low on the mandate time. Not ideal. Let's see here. Do another raid. I believe we're producing bananas now. No, we're producing pineapples, so we'll do the one that brings in bananas. Service quality is over 80, which is pretty cool. Turn this off, allow local consumption. Mandatory siesta, I think I'm going to do this. Decreases efficiency of all workplaces, but I mean, that'll be okay. Decreases pollution, that'll be good. And then increases job quality, so I rarely ever run this, but I think with like an ideal communist utopia, this would be something that they would have, mandatory siesta. Definitely not going to do it right now though. What does kind of suck is like the decrease in efficiency will affect everything, so like things like our groceries and stuff like that. What I'm going to do is lower the... Actually, we'll go with the lowest budget here, just to start squeezing out as much money as we can from the island. This isn't ideal, but because we can't be voted out of office in this first era, it's fine. Cool. So, nothing's going wrong. We just need money. And then we need to find a way to deal with the troops that the crown's going to send. I'm probably going to do the Teamster's office first as soon as we make the next chunk of money. Give us a little bit more breathing room. Another mandate extension of 18 months, and then after that, then I'll build the military buildings. So to help defend, I think I'll do a guard tower here, a guard tower here, and then a fortress here. And the goal is to kind of thwart off an attack from this direction, because they'll hit the guard tower, and then if they come from like way over here, then they'll hit this guard tower. If they come from this direction, then they'll hit the palace, and then if they come from this direction, they'll hit the fortress. And so an army will probably end up destroying one of the guard towers, but we can use the fortress to actually send reinforcements to help defeat the army, the enemy forces. How much is it for a new Teamsters? I think 2,000. Yeah, so we should be a-okay once the next freighter shows up. I think that's what I'm going to do, is make it to the next era, and then that'll be the end of episode 1 here. Get us a nice little shot of our island here while we wait for the money. While you're also playing on the slowest setting, it also gives you time to kind of just think about like your plans. And so this would be a good time to consider like just like how you want the island to be set up as the end goal. So I'm sitting here thinking that I can leave a 2 space gap here for the fortress right here, and then behind the fortress we'll build like a big plaza. And so there'll be a huge block of housing, and then I'll build another block of housing here, be a plaza in the middle, and we'll leave the fortress up probably forever. There's some cool things that you can do to get like what's it called? Tourist rating. You can get tourist rating from an edict. I believe it is in the Cold War, good old days. The second sentence there: increases tourist rating by 4, +3 for each fort, and +1 for each guard tower, up to a cap of 10. And so having 1 fortress and 2 guard towers, I think will put us... No, 3 guard towers would give us the tourist rating of 10, I believe. So that'll be pretty cool. Let's go ahead and build a Teamster's office. So because I'm planning on building a fortress which has a footprint of a 4x4 right here, what I could do is put our next Teamster's office here. Can I afford a fortress? No. But I can afford our guard posts, so we'll put 1 here and 1 way over here. We'll end up moving that guard tower eventually, but this is okay for now. Alrighty, so I'm back. I was recording this like the 2 days before Thanksgiving, but Thanksgiving I couldn't continue recording it. But now that it's the day after Thanksgiving, I can get back to it. I quickly watched what I had recorded so far, and then I edited it a little bit. And I was giving it some thought. Right at the end, I was talking about building up a military fort here, and then I was going to put the Teamster's office next to it. But quick mistake I noticed was that actually, so I want the military fort is going to take up 4, and then housing, and then right here is where I want to put the Teamster's office. So we need to finish that within the next year and 10 months, and we'll get another 1.5 years of mandate time. I want to try and quickly make it through to this next era, so typically I don't put it on ×4 speed, but I don't want this to be like too much longer than an hour, the first episode, so I'm going to put this in ×4 speed. Typically I don't do that because I like to watch the island very closely, pay attention to all the little things. Everything seems to be going pretty alright. Got a 1.5 years. But as soon as this Teamster's office goes up, we'll get another 1.5 years. Okay. So the Teamster's office finished up. We can extend mandate time by another 18 months. That's good. Leave it in ×4 speed until we make it to the colonial era. We have just over 3 years. I'm gonna put this in ×4 speed. Let's get things moving along. Island's looking pretty good. A little bit of Communist Utopia going on. So we're looking for the money. Actually, we have the money now. We finished the Teamster's office, so I'm going to go ahead and slap down our first military fort. I like that. So now we have the military fort down. We have all of the guard towers. Fulfill export trade route with the crown. I mean, I'm probably going to start doing it, but I don't know if I'll finish it. Sugar, tobacco, shellfish, rum, rubber. I might do this rubber one here. Oh, no, never mind. We're already trying to finish the coffee trade. As soon as that finishes, we need 425 coffee. So we have enough. As soon as the next ship shows up, then we'll complete that, get another 1.5 years. I doubt that we'll need it, because once we have the military, then we should be able to... actually, we could do this. Well, we'll let the trade deal go through, and then we'll do it. Take the 2,000, and we will declare independence, prepare for war. Okay, so we got, what is this, 2 years? 2 years to prepare for war. Should be pretty easy. These numbers, you want them all near 0. Everything looks like it's down near 0, which is pretty good. We'll put these on the medium budget, actually, the military buildings. As long as they're not over, like getting over $10 a month, then we're fine. Got the military fort down. Leave it on man the ramparts. I talked about this in the beginner's guide, but I'm going to leave everything on man the ramparts. We can do utility installations. It's $1,000. Oh, we just got a bunch of money from our last trade deal. If a worker has their healthcare happiness lower than 30, they'll receive a healthcare service quality of 30. Faith happiness lower than 25, they get 25. Faith happiness. That's pretty decent to have, but not super necessary. We are gonna need more people on the island now that we have a bunch of vacant jobs. I mean, we'll probably just leave it, and we can fit one more guard tower in. So we'll just construct it over there. We'll quick build it. Leave it on the $7 a month. Okay. So now everything's perfect. I was talking about it a bit earlier. Once we make it to good old days, then we'll get the +10 tourist rating from this by having 1 fortress and 3 guard towers. So that's good. We need a little bit more extra housing. As a matter of fact, I did end up building this wrong anyways. I would have wanted this 2 spaces over. I'm not going to deconstruct it right now. But, I mean, well... yeah, no, I would have wanted it 2 spaces over anyways. They're all green here. Try and mix in some yellow. And the blue ones. Everything's looking pretty good here. I'll probably end up just building something else here and leave this space open. And then as soon as we make it to the next era, build a clinic right here. Yep, now it's reaching the point where we are just raking in money. If I left this island alone for like a decade, then we'd have like 100,000, probably 200,000 or 300,000. So we've reached that critical point. Going from 10,000 to 28,000. Like, for the entirety of this video, I was just like in the negative the entire time. But I was saying that like, the island's good right now. Like, we're collecting rents. Everyone's wages are really low, so we're not spending a whole lot of money on the island. And then on top of that, like, we had plenty of production buildings down, so... a couple buildings that aren't on multicultural. So this one's up to 91%. Which is pretty good. Yeah. So these ones, as you can see, they're highlighting all the other buildings. So they're getting all, like these two right here, the only one's getting like the maximum bonus. These two across the street from each other. So up to 91. Just a little bit longer and then we can declare independence. Okay. Tropico is under attack by the Kren. So all we gotta do is survive. Let's see how many military buildings they're bringing in. They're bringing in 2 units. So this should be kind of no problem for us. We'll put all of this stuff on the max budget for right now. Everything on the max budget. The higher the budget of your military buildings, the better they're gonna be. So we left this on man the ramparts, and so as we can see, there's one soldier running his way over, trying to get inside the building. And as you can see, we're missing one person. Once he shows up, then that'll mean there's 2 squads in here, and we can send these squads to attack right here. Is what the... yeah, okay. So we're gonna go ahead and do it. So once we change this to defensive, the 2 squads come running out. So now we've got 2 squads of our militants here, charging forward to the front line. So it's going to be 2 squads versus 2 squads, but we're going to have this guard tower. But sad thing is, I don't know where the workers are. Oh, looks like they are moseying on over at a walking speed. This guard tower might go down, but that's okay. So they're in range of the guard tower, so they should aggro onto it. Hopefully. I mean, 1 guard tower, if it's fully staffed, should win the fight. It's like a pretty even fight, and then over here, this squad should get completely wiped out here. Oh no. Kinda unfortunate. And once it gets some more workers in it, it should have won. Either way, these 2 squads are going to wipe out this squad, and then they'll move on in. And just like that, advance to the World Wars. Okay, so that all worked out really well for us, actually. Okay. All citizens vote. Yeah, we're gonna go with that. And because we're going with like a true communist utopia, I'm gonna go with pacifist state. Turns out we have really low support. I wonder why. But I mean, now that we're in this era, we can actually go forward and put everything. Honestly, we'll just go with the max budget on all of our residential buildings. Make everyone as happy as possible. We can change these back to. Well, the guard towers are disabled by the pacifist state, but that's okay. So that means that the all military buildings are going to be disabled, so we'll just put them all on the lowest budget, as a matter of fact. Alrighty. This also means we have access to drift netting. So we'll go ahead and put this on drift netting. I talked about it in the beginner's guide. You want to put, the only time that I would change this to drift netting is if you have the lowest budget, which we do. And we also get these nice brick tiles along our roads. So now these little plazas are looking pretty nice. Real quick before the end of the video, I will go forward and build us up a clinic here. Let me think about what I could put here. We should have the research points for the newspaper. And so what we can do is we can change one to red star for communism and the other to the word for religion. And so what this is going to do is push everyone towards communism. So we have 60 capitalists and 51 communists. We want everyone to be communist on this island, and we want everyone to be religious over militarist. And so that's what setting these two newspapers to that does. Let's see, is there any... So we need to make it to the modern times to start getting electricity, because I don't want to build nuclear power plants or coal power plants. I'd prefer not to do any mining as well. I guess we'll just see how that goes. But let's see what else we can do here. Everyone's going to be poor, so we can't really build a restaurant. Can build a theater once we make it to the Cold War and change this to the improv theater. And the improv theater works with, I believe it's this faction here, the intellectual faction. So I also want this island to be intellectual in the future. And so we'll end up doing that as well. But that's going to be a while. How much longer till tenements? Cold War era? I mean, I don't think that there's a whole lot more that we can do here. What I will do though is build up another whatchamacallit. Another tavern for our population here. Cool. I mean, I could just quick build it. Oh, it's already underway. Cool. Max budget, all you can drink. I will get down sugar plantations. It looks like we are doing fine on jobs right now. But in the future, I'm gonna set down. I think it's 2 sugar plantations for 1 rum distillery, and I'm gonna need like 6 rum distilleries. So we'll need a bunch of sugar in the future. And then on top of that, we'll have 1 of every food type, and then a couple ranches for the other food types, as well as having cattle ranches for the sugar plantations to help keep them functioning properly. And then we'll set up the rum distilleries, which will push our taverns like really over the top. Real quick, let's check out edicts in the Cold War. We can get agricultural subsidies. I talked about this a little bit earlier. Increases efficiency of all agricultural buildings by 25%. Increases the upkeep by 50%. So, as you can see, this one's up to 91. And the max budget that we would be spending every month is 37. So 91 and 37, let's see what it turns into. So it goes up to 55 from the 37, but instead of 91, we're up to 116%, and this is on the lowest budget. So we now have plantations on the lowest budget that are over 100%, and all of them should be pretty close to 100. I think the lowest one's this one. No, the lowest one, yeah, it is this one, at 85%, so that's pretty good. Let's go through and see if there's any upgrades we can get. Select a breeding on the corn plantation. Over time it'll just get better and better. Mechanization increase job quality, or the upkeep, by $5, increases job quality. We'll go ahead and get that. Bigger buckets decreases amount of job slots but increases efficiency. Extensive fertilization, we gotta wait for the next era. And same thing with those. So this one's up to 99, so that's pretty good. Nothing else that I can really think of. We can probably, so whenever I'm setting up a communist country, I like to make everyone in the poor class, like a true Marxism. So everyone be poor, but it looks like we're getting a bunch of people who are not poor. I wonder why. So this guy works on a plantation, making like a minimum budget. And this guy works in a construction office, making a minimum budget. I wonder why there's so many well-off people. There shouldn't be that many well-off people. Because all the budgets are pretty low. Nothing's over 10. So it should be absolutely nothing that anyone could do to make a budget over 10. Maybe it's because these buildings still have workers in them that haven't completely left their job yet. People are already complaining about healthcare happiness. That's okay, because we'll get our chapel up soon. I'll just quick build it now before the video's over. Put this on the lowest budget. Get this upgrade here. And the service quality of 55 is kind of going to be the cap of the healthcare that we're going to have. It's not really going to get any higher because I want to keep the wages low. 10 or lower. And so the clinic is the only medical building that'll give a budget of $10. Nothing will give a budget lower than that. Well, unless you change this to Quacksalver, which is pretty funny, but then it just becomes too inefficient. But yeah, I think that this island is turning out pretty well. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like. If you want to follow along with this series or check out some of the other series I'm going to be cooking up a lot in the near future, then be sure to subscribe. Peace.